I am Dr. Senthil Vinayagam, Chief Executive Officer and Principal Scientist of A-IDEA, one of the technology business incubator of ICAR North. We have partnered with My Startup TV on their OTT channel to share or to showcase all our events, programs, activities in the promotion of startups and also entrepreneurs. We understand that My Startup TV OTT channel is one of the world, the first platform which has dedicated for startups entrepreneur. We are happy to be a part of with them for last 3 years to organize every event, and I request you can check out from our My Startup TV OTT channel to see all our programs in a due course of time.
We are a core data science company, and our expertise is building knowledge integration platforms using semantic intelligence technologies. At AIC CCMB, we are building a genomics platform to basically detect, diagnose, and research rare genetic disorders in humans. Yeah, so we have just about completed our MVP, and we have launched our alpha. Oops. Okay. Yeah, sure. We've just launched our alpha version of the platform. It's currently undergoing testing at CCMB and CDFD. Yeah, so we've been able to raise quite an amount of funding in the last 1 year, thanks to the support that we have received from CCMB. We will take roughly about 3 to 6 months to hit the market. And we've received a lot of support from AIC CCMB in terms of setting up the data contract. As you understand, our platform requires a lot of data to be able to test it across a wide range of diseases. And we've received support not only on the data front, but also from domain front. We have a lot of CCMB scientists and clinical geneticists who are actually testing our platform. Yes, in fact, our initial framework that we developed, we presented in the prestigious data science conference in India, and our entry was won the best demo award at that particular platform. Yeah. We have raised close to 1.5 crores from multiple areas. The mighty DST grant, and then there was a angel fund also that we raised. We also raised the NSTEDB grant. We are looking for another round of close to 1 or 2 crores to go further until we hit the commercial stage. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I am Dr. Gaurav Gupta, the Chief Operating Officer at Avishkaran, the Bionest of Naipur, Hyderabad. We have partnered with My Startup TV, the OTT platform, to showcase startup news, views, and events from Avishkaran. My Startup TV is the world's first OTT platform dedicated to startups and entrepreneurs. So do check out and follow Avishkaran OTT platform only on My Startup TV OTT channel.
AIC CCMB organized startup social event at Hyderabad. Prominent leaders from biotechnology sector addressed the gathering. Listen in.
Welcoming the online guests of us today. I am Ramji. I work as a Chief Operating Officer at AIC CCMB. I think most of you may be knowing AIC CCMB is kind of sector specific incubator, especially into life science and healthcare. 5-year-old journey that we have seen here with by inducting actually 85 plus startups here, startups and innovators, and some of the startups could able to go global, and some have seen their products commercialized, and we have some stories here. So I formally welcome you all, because you are eagerly waiting to hear what other experts today they'll be discussing about how to actually productize. So LVPI and of course our colleagues will be talking, but before I invite them, quickly to say, once you actually hear this panel discussion and to see what's happening out here, maybe you can see our facilities. Of course, we ran out of space. That is one thing I can say. But yes, virtual space is always welcome here. So we work together, LV Prasad and many other incubators and other institutions. So please come and actually engage with us constantly. And whenever you have something, you need something, please ask us. We have different programs and also seed fund, especially for healthcare medtech. So close to $1.5 million fund dedicated for seed fund. And other than that, we have different programs like SPOSH fellowship program, TIDE program. I'm not going to mention because I don't want to show any slides now. But yeah, thank you so much for joining here physically, and of course our online friends there. Now I request LUPI team so that please come and give welcome address from your what you can say. Many of the people might have not visited there, so you have to actually tease them. That's what I can say, because I have seen there. So please, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ramji, for this opportunity to work together on this startup social. Welcome to Kumars, Mr. Shirish Kumar and Shiv Kumar. And also welcome to Dr. Mr. Pankaj Thakur. Thank you so much for being here today. So I just don't want to take too much time. LV Prasad is not-for-profit organization taking care of multiple levels of patients from bottom-up or top-down model, where at the top at Hyderabad we have a center of excellence, and at the bottom we have what we call Village Vision Complex. So totally we are at 264 locations in 3+1 state in India. That's what we do, from precision care to primary care. This is what we generally cater to. And in Hyderabad, it's a city with a lot of technology, I must say. And we are also into medtech in terms of innovation, because our Innovation Center for Technology Innovation Center is close to 10-year-old now. And in the last few years, we also have our own incubation center, basically catering to medtech products. So that's what is being done. And we have few of the products, and we have some of the incubators now with us. And Hyderabad is a good ecosystem for all of this, from prototyping to productization to marketing and validation, because anything related to ophthalmology or any healthcare, we can validate across our network from top to down, be it secondary level, be it primary level, be it at the center of excellence. So that's the advantage what we have. And we are very, very happy to collaborate with the Atal Incubation Center here. This is also one of our partners, because that's where we coexist, because each of us have some strength, and we work on that so that it helps the larger group of people. And I want to welcome all of you for this, and I'm looking forward to the panel discussion. Thank you very much for having us today here. Thank you.
I think let's have a quick discussion with the panel members. Today we have Mr. Pankaj Thakur from Paddock Ventures and Shishir from Huel and Sif Bio, and of course other companies maybe. So, and also Incumed, unfortunately Shiva is not joining, but Surya Rao from Altheon, he's also one of our successful startups who actually developed water technology, ultra pure technologies. He'll be joining. So before he come, I think Pankaj would like to present or talk about 5 minutes or so that, each speaker can speak about 5 minutes. Then we can actually go for a quick discussion.
So you put me on the spot, but that's okay. So what would you like to hear? Let me understand. I mean, I can tell my story, which is 37-year-old. You'll get bored. So what do you want to hear about? Give me something that you really care about in startup world. What is it? I know everybody who comes into our office is looking for funding, and I don't want to talk about that because that's the most difficult subject to explain. And though we've got about 100 startups funded in the last 4.5 years, but I don't want to boast about that because that's what we do for a living anyway. But that's a process. So anybody else wants to know anything other than the funding?
So
Yes.
few companies in healthcare and
So I'll talk about our latest that we are going to do now. We've been asking corporate world, and these are really the people with the money and non-CSR funding to come in and open and help the various verticals, including healthcare. And we've been talking to about 30 odd corporates, really pushing them to contribute not only by this, not only their money, but their entire value chain into the system so that startups can actually take advantage of that, leverage it, and grow. And one such came across, and fortunately it's in healthcare, GSK. So GSK and us are now trying to help healthcare startups, and we kept it very broad because if you narrow down, see, drug discovery, GSK will never be able to actually do that because it's a global mandate. But GSK India is a listed company, has some power to itself. So they said, okay, we want to do these 5 things. The first thing they came up with is, how can we actually leverage data? We don't have data. And seriously, they don't have data. They are completely opaque to the entire system. What doctor is writing to what patient, they have no clue. And from there, what it comes to chemist and what chemist gives, they have no clue. They only have clue is what they ship to their distributor, and distributor gives it to retailer. And how much of that gets sold is a matter of reconciliation of inventory. But the important part, and we all understand, in tomorrow's world, data is what's going to drive any company's growth, and healthcare is no exception. So if any one of you have any healthcare data related startup, there is 4 things available to you. One, of course, a very structured approach, handheld holding you for next 2 years to grow, first sustain, grow, and then scale. In the first phase of 6 months, you will get 3 crores worth of funding if you qualify. And it will be at a fair market value. Nobody is asking. There will be external investors who will validate you, and GSK is going to get a co-invest in that. That's the first thing. Second thing, you will get access to entire GSK's network if you're looking for a distribution or if you're looking to access doctors, patients. As he said, they can validate anything in ophthalmology. GSK also had certain, about 30 odd, 40 odd SKUs. They can actually help you validate those ideas into this. They have access to doctors, hospitals, and to everybody else. So that's another thing. Third thing they bring to the table is the domain knowledge. The pharma industry or healthcare industry is now really, health pharma cannot say that I am a separate than healthcare or, generic or even cosmetics for that matter. They have a lot of cosmetics products which they want to plan to launch and they don't know how to do it, primarily because they are a pharma company. They have a consumer product company which sells your, toothpaste and all that, but that's different. So that's the third thing you get is you get all the domain knowledge. Their entire team is ready to help you, handhold you, and take you. Fourth thing is they bring us PadUp in. What does PadUp do? We have created programs which will help startups go through a process of creating a customized business plan where investors can write check. That's what I said. 100 companies have actually raised money. One of the companies actually is from here, Semantic Web. You'll be surprised that we took Semantic Web through the program and they were not really interested in raising money. They got a big grant, they were very happy. So I told Dr. Asha that, look, there is a chance because our program culminates on a demo day. And there was a lot of investor interest, and this team of husband and wife was not ready to take money. It took me 3 months to convince her to take money. And the day she said, okay, I'll take money, I think I need about 1 crore. And we put it on our angel group. We have an angel group of friends of PADUP. Within 1 hour, she got 1 crore. We opened at 5 in the evening. We closed at 6 in the evening. She would have actually got 3-4 crores that day. And the money is lying in a bank. She's not spending it for some reason. She's supposed to be here today or maybe meet me tomorrow in Bangalore. And, the idea is funding is actually a output of what you do. Funding is not input for what you do. People who chase money will waste time, effort. So I have been 3 times over entrepreneur. 25 years I have been doing this for a living. First time was not really a classical entrepreneur, but I used to work for HCL, came out of HCL, and all I knew was how to push boxes, right? So you're selling computers 500 rupees less, 1,000 rupees less, and we used to do box pushing. And after 5 years, I got bored and I picked up my bag and went to US and created a startup there. When I created a startup there, raised a lot of money, but because of 9/11, it just went down and under. I buried it ceremoniously and came back. Right? And that time I realized that I chased, before I saw my first term sheet, I had already knocked 50 doors in US. I used to go every day. I used to drive on the wrong side of the road, as per me, that was wrong side, and end up in Palo Alto or, Sand Hill and things like that. And, it was very difficult I called router a router. I didn't understand what schedule means because we had schedule. I didn't understand what month on month mean. Month on month, what is he saying? I don't know. How does month on month, we say month after month. Anyway, I struggled through that and I realized it's not that the way. I got a mentor to myself. This mentor was a junior from my college, but had gone and worked, later on came to MIT Manipal and then worked there and had made it big. $400 million he had made. So he said, okay, I'll give you $1 million, but you have to listen to me. I said, tu mera junior hai, kaisi baat kar raha hai? He said, but you don't know anything about this place. Next 6 months, he gave me $1 million. We worked upon everything, hired people. And in next 6 months, we raised about, first round was $8 million. Next round, after that, about a year later, about another $7 million, $15 million we raised. And this gentleman handheld me through all this process. Unfortunately, the company did not do well and I came back. And then I did another startup called Cellcast in India, ran for 10 years. My last yearly revenue was about 200 crores. And I sold that company in 2013. And since then, I'm trying to figure out how do I help startups to take my gyan and become successful. So I have gone with my baggage, institute by institute. 250 odd institutes I've covered, including IIT, IIMs, whosoever called me, I went there, you pay my ticket, I'll come. And the learning from there is that there are no takers of entrepreneurs in this country, primarily because the ROI doesn't work out. Today, even in the smallest of the smallest college, the engineering cost 4-year is about 16 lakhs. Now, out of 16 lakhs, somebody, lower middle class person paying for their children, the child should not be doing entrepreneurship. And I support that. But what I'm trying to say here is that entrepreneurship does not come when you come out of the college. It comes when you work for 10 years and then start doing something. And when you start doing something, if you start chasing money, it'll never come. You'll have to chase the business. And best way to chase the business is hire a mentor. Get a mentor on board, and he'll help you open doors. He'll help you create an ecosystem. He'll help you create strategic partners. And sometimes he'll even put up his money. So we have about 80 mentors and each one of them actually doubles up as an investor. And the reason for that is because mentorship till now has been very ad hoc and informal. Mentor's skin in the game is not there. And when a skin in the game is, he should write a check, even if it is for 2 lakhs, to your company for a fair market value and then help you go that distance, which is about 3 years. 95% of the companies fail within 3 to 5 years of their existence. 95%. And the only reason they fail is they don't have mentors. Only reason. Everybody has an idea, products, blah, blah, blah. What they don't have is business. And because they don't have business, they can't get funding. And because they can't get funding, they go down and under. So get a mentor. And for startup, I say get a life. That's it. Any questions? We'll talk about it later. Yeah.
I think, I'm sorry, please, just a quick question. Sometimes it's also critical to know how to choose a mentor. So what would your criteria be to choose a mentor?
Yeah, very good question. Actually, to choose a mentor, first of all, don't think he's a consultant. They're not going to work you. They're not going to work for you. And don't expect him or her to babysit you. A mentor is a person who has the domain and business knowledge both. It cannot be only domain. And I sit on IIT Delhi's review board and I see it every day where the professors are mentors and the startups struggle primarily because there is no business sense that actually prevails over them. So yeah, and second thing, there has to be a formal arrangement where there has to be maybe a small equity given to the mentor. And if mentor can invest, that's like icing on the cake.
I think still the answer is how to choose a mentor. That's the question.
So there are two things. I mean, somebody told me this long. First, look for the chemistry. If chemistry works out, math will automatically work out.
I now request Shishir to please introduce yourself.
To give you a brief, I started one company called RAS Life Sciences in 2008 along with my wife. She is a PhD from CCMB as well. And then exited it in 2017. We sold to Biomerio, a French company, and then started 2 more companies. One named Huel Life Sciences, which is human welfare. So no connection to China. Please don't think Huel is something which is related to human welfare. And then subsequently another company called Sirf Bio, which Hindi wala, Sirf. So Sirf Bio. So we make equipment over there for biology. Other one, we make equipment, reagents. So we make end-to-end in diagnostics. We make enzymes, we make plastics, we make primers and probe, we make all for diagnostics, especially RT-PCR related stuff. Along with right now, we are also making rapid lateral flow assays. So fortunately or unfortunately, COVID struck. So we did good. So we were the largest sellers in the country. We sold around 4.35 crores of tests with completely indigenization, and we did decent. We did more than 100 crores. So we did fairly well. Last 3 years, we are doing fine. We have built a big facility, which is at Sultanpur Medical Devices Park. And currently, we have around 72 employees, which include PhDs, masters. So many, I think fortunately, once you have little bit money, you can attract good talent as well. So that's the unfortunate thing of startups, because many times when you feel that you need good people, you need money for that. And you need money and you need actually acceptance. Mental attitude of startup guys is always, why I need to pay that much? Because you don't have that vision to see whether they would be really useful or whether I can make a product out of it or whether they can be of helpful or not. So that's one big challenge. But once you have certain money in company, so you get that confidence levels, which are definitely are worth enough to hire good people. So it's currently doing well. We are exporting. We started exports right now, and we exported to UAE, we exported to Sri Lanka, right now Philippines, and we are also getting product registered in Brazil. So that's a short success story, which lasts 3.5 years story. And currently, another good part is we got through Technology Development Board award, and we also raised fund from SIDBI. So there are private investors who are looking at investing, but currently we raised from SIDBI and TDV. So that's in story. Thank you.
And I request Ratnam sir, please say about the facilities, and many are excited to actually use the facilities. So please.
Thanks, Ramji. Thanks, everyone. So I come from Eli Prasad Eye Institute. So basically, I'm a biomedical engineer, and we have started the Center for Technology Innovation about a decade ago, inaugurated by none other than Bharat Ratna Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And since then, our journey was quite upward, and we created, its journey started with basically getting the import replacements 10 years ago. Yeah. And then we slowly developed our own concepts. Why not we do this? Why not we do this? And then we made something. In the early times, we tell the concepts to some of the MNCs, some, Swedish companies or, some European, US companies, and they would make it. They would bring in the change. They would bring in the model and say that, okay, this is, this particular scissor told by you, and we made it. And slowly we thought, like any other industry in India, slowly we also get our own confidence and making our own things. That's how we landed up making our own products, our own patents, and details like that. And just a couple of years ago, we got this opportunity, and we started this Bionest incubator. So this is the first hospital-based incubator in India. So many startups like funding is one big problem, of course. People is another big problem. But when it comes to healthcare, one of the biggest problem is clinical validation. Anywhere you take your product and so can you do the clinical validation, the first thing they say, who have the time? I mean, even some of the big organizations who have that kind of a resource, they create a department, including Eli Prasad Eye Institute, called Clinical Research Department, who can do the validation, but it comes with a heavy cost. And therefore, if I walk through and then ask some of my own consultant, can you do this validation? Again, they would say, Ratnam, you know me, I'm seeing 100 patients a day and blah, blah, blah. It's too difficult for them. But what happened is, some of the startup meetings also, this question came up. They were saying that, look, my problem is, I made these IoT-based devices connecting all the ECGs and central display, whatever concept they come out. But my problem is I could not validate it. I said, this is the place. We have the hospital-based incubator, which is a beautiful marriage between the healthcare facility and the startup facility. So that's what Ramji was saying, that look, they have something which we don't have, is on prototyping, and other one is, the clinical validation. Of course, our skill set, what we have in-house ranges from mechanical engineer to industrial design engineers, electronic engineers, embedded engineers, and machine operators, and even clinicians, optometrists, ophthalmologists. So many people work together there. And that's a beautiful melting pot for different talents come together to help you. So the facilities, what we got, thanks to Bharat and also LVPA management, we have put up one of the most precision equipment to do the prototyping, which can go to the level of microns, because we look at ophthalmology. So some of the scleral lens, for example, we make even we have a production unit for them, which makes it to the level of sub-millimeter range, and even optical, any kind of material. It could be a PMMA, like a polymer, or it could be aluminum, it could be brass, any kind of things. We could facilitate all that. So that kind of prototyping facility is available. And of course, we have a partnership with AIC, CCMB, like many other partners. We can also link up and be a one-stop shop for doing many things, in all the way up to from idea to POC to prototype, and even industrial design, form factor, all the way up to a clinical validation, which is the sort of acid test for any product. And once it passes, I guess, the idea is good. It should sell. I just want to share one small information from one of the angel investor. I'd never met her before, but she just bumped on me in one of the Bits Pilani campus or a similar startup social. So she was mentioning that, Ratnam, I know LVPI. So I was wondering, you're from Delhi. How do you know about LVPI? So she was mentioning, no, 30% of our current investment goes into healthcare. I was asking, are you focusing on it? She said, no, we are not pulling it. It is being pushed and it is good. So by automatically my investment on the healthcare is increased. It is 30% is huge compared to agri-tech, fintech, edtech, and so many other things, what they're doing. And she mentioned that 2 of the recent startup funding based on LVPI clinical validation. I said, wow, I didn't know that. It has attracted that much of attention, and validation is so useful to get the funding. So, as he said, chase the business, of course, after validating clinically or while clinically validating it. Because the process of prototyping from T0, T1 and all that, you would fine-tune it towards the business, actual value adding to the customer or reducing the pain to the customer in some way. So we are open, we are available, and we could help you with all the way, especially in ophthalmology, clinical validation. We have some of the international standards for research is one of the founding pillars of L. Prasad Eye Institute, and clinical research is part of it. So we'll be able to help you, even if you think that, you don't know anything about clinical validation. We'll be able to help you right from the drawing board all the way up to the final stage. Thanks, Anji.
IncuMed member Shiva is not here today because of some family emergency, and very fortunate to have Surya Rao here from Altion, one of the startups of us, and he moved to a bigger facility from here. Surya, please.
So hi everyone, Surya here. We have a facility like 100 meters from here, which is why Ramji called me when somebody didn't show up. No worries. So how many of you are trying to make medical equipment startups? Build medical equipment startups here? 1, 2, 3, 4. One was, okay, it's 4 of you. Excellent. So we started our journey in IICT, Indian Institute of Chemical Technology. We wanted to make a medical RO plant based on certain innovative novel membranes, right? And we did that, and validation, we had to do validation. So that was a big challenge. So we were fortunate to speak to NephroPlus, who is India's largest chain of dialysis centers. And they gave us an opportunity to pilot in Maritpally, which is about 3-4 kilometers here. So they didn't use it in patients. They ran it for a couple of months. They tested it for another couple of months and then started using it. So that's how we started off. So once the orders from NephroPlus started coming in, we were able to go to other companies and say, this is something we've already proven and it's been working with patients. So that's how we started off. So prototyping, if you want to talk about prototyping, which is part of the focus today, right? So I'd say validation, very, very critical. No matter how you do it, either with mentors or if you have to convince somebody, you have to validate before you go too deep into any, because it's your time and money you're talking about. So it's better to fail fast and move on to the next better one rather than get stuck with a lame horse, if you will. So that's been my biggest takeaway. And once you go deeper into a particular thing that people know that you can make things that are necessary, you are in the position to make better things, diverge, and increase your revenues and so on. So the first project you pick is very critical. It'll either kill or drive your company forward. That would be my key takeaway. Spend a little bit more time, but get something right the first time. If not, you're dead eventually. Thank you.
So I welcome Dr. Madhusudan Rao, our CEO. Fortunate to join just now. I would like to hear a few words from you, Madhu.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry I just missed the first 10 minutes of it. And welcome to each one of you for coming here. And then, of course, Shishir is our old friend. Surya, of course, went out of our place. And I met LV Prasad's the Bionis Center, which is fantastically equipped for a certain kind of medtech equipment. It's I think even Sadhguru is kind of hand-holding the place. And I kind of take care of AIC here. And I'm sure most of you have seen the place. And if not, please make some time to see the place. And we are into idea to development stage, not at a product development. Once they become mature product, they leave us and then go on to go to a larger place. So this is what we are. And I'm sure I just leave it at that, but have a good discussion, and especially having, people with a lot of experience around, I think it'll be a great opportunity to get rid of some cobwebs. And welcome again for being here. Thank you.
Few of the questions that are really bugging me to ask these couple of entrepreneurs, and of course Ali Prasad. So money, of course, we have money in India, right, Pankaj? So really lots of it. So that's why let's quickly discuss on the struggles that startups generally face. I'll go first with Shishir, because 15 years before, or almost close to 15 years, because when I was at IKP, the story of Biomure, initial 60%, then to final 100% to Biomure. So that time and to now, maybe at least more than a dozen of such diagnostic kits or any other devices through SIF Bio in partnership with Incumed or any other partners. How did you kind of crack those productization? Because that is the first step. Most of the people, they know, okay, if I want to do this lateral flow device based technology, or maybe biosensing technology, any other technology in the science side, they're okay. But once you want to make something in hand, a kind of tangible thing, many of the startups are really struggling, where to go and, which can be the affordable one. So how did you crack that for your products, and what do you suggest to the innovators right now in the current generation?
Yeah, I think what Surya said, I agree with that. You have to validate your idea, and I think there's a toughest journey is to take some other's technology and work on it rather working yourself. Because I appreciate what Surya have done, because taking a technology from Indian institutes is a big challenge, especially take it IITs or CCMBs or any institutes, because they are not tuned to those sort of industrialization. So currently what we have done is we have been in diagnostic services first before entering into diagnostics, because we understood, we worked with various kits. We have diagnostic services, and we did fairly good diagnostic services across. So we understood what are the pitfalls and what are the loopholes, and we know, and that created a good repository of samples for us to test our own kits.
What are they? I mean, the loopholes.
Yeah, in the sense, currently most of, I don't believe too much innovation in country. Objective is to have more import substitution. Innovation is a big buzzword to get funding, and especially without that, having that innovation word, probably funders are not that keen, or not even BIRAC guys are keen or to get a big grant or any of this. So believe that, first of all, you have to believe that your product is useful for masses. See, once you create a product which is usable, money is always there. So money always follows, but objective is, first is the selection of the product. You have to select such a product where regulations are not very high, which eat away most of your money, because many of the entrepreneurs start with bootstrapping. They sell their whatever they have, assets, or I think most of them, I think the same with Surya and myself. So we I think we when we started, we sold our house, and we had very little knowledge of finance. I think the finance part is very, very missing in all of the entrepreneurs. Most, and I think even those are from big financial institutions also miss the financial part. So understand, and we don't make Excels. I knew Excel only after finishing of acquisition of one company. So getting into finance, I bought first book in 2000, I think 10 or 11, Financials for Dummies, because I didn't know about authorized capital, didn't know about paid up capital and all that stuff, acquisitions and all this was not part. So that See, financials are the things which you need to learn more. And to have a complete planning, take more time on planning. That's what I learned during my entrepreneurial journey. Take more and more time to design, plan, execute. But that takes a long time, because those who are scientists, they are more, they jump first onto the problem, because they know that that's the easiest thing what they can do. Because planning is something which is very, very critical. Unless you plan well with all angles of technical, financial. So you have to do complete detailed project report of your own project, which we generally tend to not to do any documentation. Before starting any project, we don't do documentation at all. So most of the companies I have seen that we haven't given a complete, right from the screw to the complete device. We need to have a complete awareness of where exactly the product is and how the product looks like or what exactly is needed. We don't have that complete cycle of events which goes into a product development, and that has to be documented before starting your project. Don't document for the sake of somebody or a funding agency or the guy who gives you land or the guy who gives you an incubation center. So please plan according to that. So that's the biggest learning what I feel is to have any initiation of any project. And as I said, validation is a big challenge, not only for devices but even diagnostics. Though we are plenty, we top in the list of TB, we top in the list of HIV. We don't get samples. We don't. People are not. There are no enough centers, and unfortunately, CDC-ESCO has its own regulatory schemes, which you need to do only in government labs, or whether they are accredited or not, you need to do in government labs. That's unfortunate thing. So whether they are following the regulations or not, we need to do in government labs. So many of those, there are some, I think it's changing, but it has to change quite a bit to encourage more and more manufacturers. So validations is critical. So you need to these are all part of your whole design document. You need to have a complete design document before you initiate a project.
Thank you very much. I think the lifting of the project is the key. How do you do that? Good points on planning of it, but again, that includes financial. That's what you hinted upon, because although the mandate that we are having today is about productization, that's not about the physical product that we want to see. That's linked to all these, the regulatory, the prototyping, and the team and everything. So, touching upon to those points, Surya, do we have such kind of, for example, facilities, prototyping facilities, the Bangalore is having its own style, Delhi, not maybe in the main city, but again, Hyderabad, Balnagar areas, what are the crude way of prototyping and all. Now T-Works came. What you have seen, being an incubation manager earlier, you had an incubation and you built incubation centers about 10 years before. So how did you actually crack in your journey? And actually, what is the first thing an innovator should see if you want to prototype something? Can you please tell something about it?
So we use the word, your idea should have legs, which means does it have the potential to go on and survive on its own? That's very important. So prototyping, funding, all that will fall into place if your idea has commercial value primarily. So that is the first step. That's what I think everybody was touching upon. And you can't really, being in incubation centers, having run them, being part of CCMB's incubation center. See, many of our colleagues kind of dream about the usefulness of their idea, and imagine that's such a fantastic idea. It cannot be done like that. You have to go to the users, the end users, and figure out if it's really valuable or not. So from there starts your prototype. So another thing is we can't have a perfect prototype, right? We have to have something that does the minimum job required of it. It's called an MVP, right? Minimum viable product. Yeah. So you got to do that. So in our case, we ran to Balanagar. This was pre T-Works. So there'd be a giant river of sewage right next to the Balanagar fabrication thing, but we got our work done there. And that is what went to a top-notch medical facility. If the hospital saw where we fabricated, they wouldn't touch it in 100 years. Right next to a river of sewage, right, in Balanagar. So that's the thing. But the parameters, the specifications have to be very, very clear. So you accomplish what the machine or the device has to do, and you got to be very clear about it. And once you get to once you've done your R&D, basically you can't really overkill it, right? So my team, for example, gets very irritable when I go along with them to an installation, because I still have my R&D hat on, and they're all about standardization. So when I see something, I say, why don't you change that? And it's a very dangerous thing, because that could lead to some other unintended consequence. So the lessons are: have your specs ready, have something that works, does the job, get it perfect, then go back to your lab and maybe perfect it. So yeah, that's what we have learned. So I've stopped going to sites because they think I'm a distraction. We do our R&D in the lab, but most of the work has to be like process driven, documentation driven, replicability. It has to be repeatable. That is what we have learned. Yeah. So if you guys want to do the prototyping currently, there are, like, the electronics hub is ECIL, the metalwork hub is Balanagar. There is also Cherlapalli here. But T-Works, which is a Government of Telangana initiative, has fantastic equipment where you can go and prototype all your even electronics, plastics, metalwork, and all that stuff. So it's much better now for people trying to make devices.
So just talking on the facilities, you guys actually directed them actually how someone can actually look into prototype is nothing but kind of a tangible thing, but also link it to many other aspects. So coming to LVPI, as Surya is mentioning about the facilities, have you done before? I mean, I'm just a layman question. Sorry, I don't have any proper agenda of questions. What is that? The ecosystem, the startups needed, or have you done kind of surveys that time? Maybe LV Prasad, of course, having a couple of products gone global, I guess, the fantastic stories that we have. The main facility I came to know from Raghu and Vipin. So this question is, are we really equipped enough today to do an alpha prototype? And also the regulatory challenges, for example, the industrial designs. So how do you connect? How do you actually help them to design or reiterate their plans to develop a prototype in compliant to the regulatory, what you can say, works or regulatory prospects that we are looking for? Can you please say on that?
Thanks, Ramji. I think you asked a couple of questions. One is that are we really equipped to do the prototype? Second one is it in line with compliance? Yeah. So the answer to the first question is it depends on what we want to do. If you're saying, are we equipped to do a nanometer scale chip, then obviously no. But if you're asked, are we equipped to make a proper industrial design and proper mold for a product? Yes. Are we equipped to make a proper electronic design? Yes. Are we equipped to make a proper a mechanical, well-balanced one? Yes. Different metals? Yes. Glass? Yes. Different types of polymers? Yes. I'm not just talking about LV Prasad Eye Institute incubator, but I'm talking that, as a ecosystem, it is very well done. In fact, in one of the past profile as a chief operating officer of a public limited company, we've acquired BTS making company from ASA. That company was in Taiwan. So we acquired that company and then we started making our own BTS at that time. So typically, the RF components would be procured from Germany and some other key chips from Japan, and assembly, would be typically done in Bangalore, or assembly would be done in Taiwan, depending on where it is more viable at that time. So India is very prepared, and Hyderabad in particular is catching up very, very fast. So if you ask the ecosystem, it is available. So if you go and search, even a multinational company, they have set up their shop in Hyderabad. I just received a mail yesterday from MNC in US, based out of US, doing that. They have an office, and there is one, Mr. Prasad called me, said, we can do the designs for you in electronics. I said, where are you? The entire work is done in US, but they set a shop here, right in Hyderabad, next road. So if you ask, yes, very much. For most of our needs, our ecosystem is ready. It is available, which could do. And the next one is the compliance. So the compliance is little lucid now, because there are a lot of compliance in the past also, not just healthcare, but for the sake of industry or for other things, government going soft on them. They're not shutting down the shops, they're not banning the product or anything. They're given a guideline, they're given a voluntary registration, and now they just, they do a soft start or stop. In that way, it is better to the industry. Perhaps it's industry friendly. So even some of the products compliance with CE or certification are guided right here in Hyderabad. So the ecosystem is ready for any compliance, not just for Indian compliance, any compliance. Not only that, the established manufacturers like Shishir or other people here, they not only make their own products, but they also make their assembly line available for making other products as a OEM and help them to comply with those kind of certifications. So we have such partners in the industry available who already have the CE certified product and FDA certified product, but they have the same knowledge and everything available for others to take up and use it. So ecosystem is very well available, and it can very well comply with not just Indian regulatory compliance, but even international.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry. So, people come here, okay, I need this to be injection molded or maybe any 3D printed, whatever, But again, at the same time, whether you can actually advise, that's what you're telling about the partners. Okay, regulatory, maybe consultants you may be having, and they can actually guide them. Okay, this could be suitable or this may not be suitable. So I'm not having that knowledge of industrial suitability and all those terminologies I cannot use here. But whether any prototyping facility, Surya, whether they will be guiding them properly, boss, this is the way you have to go. I mean, is that the way the T-Works or maybe the prototyping facilities will be? Can you please comment on this?
Yeah, I happen to have one device to be developed based on image processing, and we are developing a POCT device. I sort of figured out that probably Hyderabad, nobody is there to do that. So many things they are not at specific place. Like if I have to go for IoT based or anything like firmware types. So there's somebody sits in Bangalore, and prototype based on image stuff, somebody sits somewhere else. So objective is to get on one platform. Probably incubation centers play a major role in that. Probably advertising more and getting more road shows of what they do, because that is to be very keen for all industries, because we don't know what exactly is to be done. I'm easily approachable. I was CCAM for me, rather approaching LVPI, because I didn't know about LVPI at all. So objective is connecting the dots to the entrepreneur is very, very crucial. Probably you need to have more and more ecosystem development towards it, so that we can use the facility. And many of the startups need at very affordable price. You cannot charge exorbitant. A small device cannot cost you more than 3 to 4 lakhs max. But now the charges are exorbitant. They are more than 10 lakhs in CCAM, which I had to pay. So that should not be the case, at least for MVPs and MVPs.
Oh, thanks, sir. That's a good point, because again, awareness. This today's meeting itself. When Sadhguru came up, let's do something in this. So the people should know And CCMB having its own capabilities of maybe some diagnostic samples or some diagnostic platforms or LVPI, some prototyping. So again, with the experience of Altheon and UL or SIRFBio kind of stories. So Pankaj, I don't want you to be left alone listening to because money is there, right? So money is there. So in the sense, I'm sorry, just in your experience, because you already told about Semantic. Again, Semantic is our startup. So they actually enrolled with this. What's the program name? Boot Up. Yes, Boot Up. They got enrolled. And then they actually raised this fund of 70 lakhs or 1 crore, I guess. So, in your experience, people come to you for money only, of course, money majorly. But otherwise, also you have such a network or mentoring platform or pool that can help them raise funds at the prototype level or in the seed level or pre-seed level. Can you please share some of the experience in that level? How the Bangalore, probably, you might have seen a lot of stories in Bangalore, and any one or two cases, if you can tell, in comparison with Hyderabad today.
So, I can't really compare Hyderabad, Bangalore, because we do pan-India, right? Anybody can come from anywhere and we help them. But there are two case studies that I would like to say. There is a company called Ameliorate, based out of Bangalore, big grantee, and also Sparsh, I think they've got. They developed a product and which basically with 1 drop of blood in less than a minute, they can measure whether you have a malaria, chikungunya or dengue, which was normally a 72-hour process. And their biggest problem was how do they get prototype out? In concept, it was there. Big grant had come. They were using that money. But the next challenge was clinical trial. Will they get money for clinical trial? Because that expense is close to 75 lakhs. And big grant is not, or BARAC or anybody is not going to give that money. Where does money come from? So we took them through the same process called Boot Up, where we help them validate their idea from the user-centric point of view. Now, if you are from healthcare industry, you can imagine such a equipment, who's going to use it? Any answers? Who's the end user of such a product? Now you're all wrong. When they went there, somebody said PHCs. Yeah, exactly. So when they went into the market, they interviewed 200 doctors, about 100 pathological labs. And after that, they came and realized that pathological labs really don't want that because that's the competition to them. They take for 3 tests and this guy is giving in 1 test and costs less than 200 rupees. Next, they went to the hospitals and hospitals showed them, hey, we don't want it. Who's going to recommend this? They went to the physicians and he said, how many you got? Because when the guy comes to me, he's looking to get, he needs to understand what has he got. So I take a drop of blood and I tell him, boss, you got chikungunya. Straight go for it. Otherwise, you first do malaria, then chikungunya, then dengue. Now, when they realized this, they were really shaken up themselves. So they came back and then a mentor called Prabal Chakravarti. He was CEO for Boston Scientific. He's the mentor for them. He helped them devise a plan. And then we took them to investor and said, they need money. This is the scope of the work. This is the market availability. This is the revenue they can do. And before they did all that, their only way to sell was tenders. Now they suddenly realize that every physician wants to keep at least 200 of them in this thing. Imagine the market in Bangalore itself where they had 800 odd physicians. So suddenly the money poured and they came to the group and 2 crores were given to them. They are going through the clinical trial right now. And we are raising a bridge round for them for another 2 crores because of the pandemic, the clinical trial got delayed, right? And rightly somebody said here, it cost lakhs of rupees. Then they did not get a hospital which could actually sponsor them. Those are the issues. But what I'm trying to say is having a mentor along, he just opened doors for them. Which hospital do you want to go? this hospital. Okay, I'll talk to them. So the prototyping and all comes after you validated the commercial viability of the product. The prototype doesn't come before the commercial viability of the product. And then once you have a prototype, again the viability has to be done again, because that prototype has a different unit cost, different other cost related to it, put it into the market. So that will be, again, you will go back and again assess that. So that was just one case which told us that, and that was probably the first case where a startup got funded even for the clinical trial. And then there is another startup that we are currently, it's a physiotherapy startup, and this is done by a college student, two college students, one physiotherapy doctor and another is the engineer. And they developed this product which basically can help rehabilitation process faster. It can press the muscle strength. And 16 or 17 months, and they are ready with the prototype. Again, we did not do anything. A gentleman called Anil Iyer, who was the head of GSK business, he helped them walk through that process of creating a prototype, and they got funded for prototype. So, again, but they first did the validation, commercial validation, whether the physiotherapy is needed, what is the market, and the innovation they did was amazing, because normally whatever is available is only available for hand. This is the strength in it. Now this can measure all the muscles in your body, the strength of each and every. So the rehabilitation, the value proposition is 20 times better than that. So I think money is available. The process you adopt is right. And I completely agree with what he said. There has to be a user-centric approach and commercial validation before you even go for a prototype.
Wonderful points. When you start a project, before the project, you have to go for the documentation, plan, as Shishir mentioned, and also you have to identify the key stakeholders where you can actually help prototyping. And again, ecosystem, that what Ratnam sir mentioned, that we have to work together. We have to identify, okay, if I'm not having a full-fledged way of facilities, then you can go there, some kind of thing. And again, you rightly mentioned about validation or reiteration, and before to that you have to go understand who are the right customer. Many of the people actually think diagnostic centers. I mean, this case I'm just telling, so, but again, you have to redefine your customer segments. So maybe I'll ask Shishir one more question actually, because medical devices or diagnostic, any other such tangible products or maybe intangible even. For example, we have software-based SAMDs, for example. A lot of pathways to clear, and Shishir cracked some of the regulatory challenges in India. And Shishir, can you please tell one case of, your products, for example, the normal centrifuge that you developed along with Incumed, or maybe as a kind of advisory by the Incumed, whatever. So, a kind of 3-4 steps that are the challenges that you faced so that you could able to achieve that. Can you please tell as a case study?
Yeah, I think I'll that's the easiest one, because that doesn't need IVD certification yet, because we haven't gone for IVD or CE marking of centrifuge yet. But I think identification, what I said is the design itself, if you can identify which category or which class of products they fall into. In the planning itself, you can incorporate those line of activities, because right now guidelines are very clear. Even Amazon sells the MDR 2017 CDCSCO guidelines. It is not, earlier it was very difficult to even identify a guideline to find out what is guideline suitable for our product. So currently even you get book anywhere, and now earlier the expertise of QA lied in those who have information. So right now it is not so. Right now information is more on public domain, so you can understand whether it falls in class A, class B, class C or D. So which classes of, then based on that you can plan, and IS consultants do help. but majority should come from yourself, and you should understand the complete documentation. I think purely it all, because we are very poor in documentation, which I do get from every industry. We are very poor in documenting what we do. So if you document it in a logical traceability with all proper controls, then you can crack any CDCSCO, the CDSCO regulatory clearances. That's not a big challenge these days. Objective is to identify which class of products you'd fall. And in that, I think one technique, apart from financial mentorship, you should also have technical mentorship. Without having a technical mentorship, finally you end up in saying that was, after a while, probably I would have done so and so. And because startups vision is limited, so the mentors' visions are more deep in the markets. So they understand the viability of the product, and technically, if there is to be changed initially, that has to be changed initially itself. Because once you make a product, then it becomes a big challenging task for you to. Any change would attract your regulatory clearances. So identify those, and mentorship plays a crucial role. So that I think both technically and financially, irrespective of it, probably another thing is probably association of industries with different industries. Definitely people like GSK, what he's talking about, that makes more sense. So they have many good understanding. I only apprehension startups do have is if you talk about the data, who owns the data? So that becomes a big challenge, because once you start sharing data and information to big companies, startups have no role. So that's a sort of apprehension any startup would have.
They don't want data. They want platforms that can help them get their own data.
Okay.
They don't want data.
Okay. So, but many of them is the IP sharing, which actually worries more of the startups.
That's why we put in the middle.
Yeah, I think that's very good point. And I think there are fairer now. You have multiple opportunities. Startups can grow much faster, but collaborating with each other makes more life easier. That's actually within your community itself, within your startups itself. If you can collaborate and work together, you can get the product out quickly. So ultimately, what it counts is what you have. If you don't have a prototype with you and still claim that you do want to proceed further with validations and all that stuff, doesn't make sense. So until unless you collaborate and do work together, probably you can attract better grants as well.
Thank you, Shishir. Before we open questions, actually, Surya, you want to add anything in that line? The challenges may be different, or so.
Maybe about mentors. So you have to be very careful you pick the right mentors. Somebody who's already done it, right? If you look on YouTube, you'll find somebody posing next to a yacht saying, I went from 1 crore to 50 crores. You don't know the reality of the guy at all. You better pick people who have done it in respectable large companies, who have no hidden agendas, who do not are quite ethical, have a reputation for integrity. That is what very important, because there's a lot of people riding the startup wave in India without doing startups themselves. So be very careful there.
Change. What is change? Well, it's the only constant thing in life. The change of perspectives, the change of technology, the change of emotions, even the changing of millions of cells in our body. In simple words, change is something really beautiful. Its changing makes us realize that there is nothing permanent in life. So we at Denorilin are changing the way we interact, the way we value each other. So join the revolution.
Hello everyone, welcome to Denorilin's Product Soft Launch.
Hello everyone, thanks for being here in today's event which is launching the world's first gamified social media application which is incubated in T-Hub 2.0, the world's largest innovation campus. I'll call upon Vishwa to share his experience, who is a beta tester working with Denorilin. So Vishwa, please come onto the stage and share your experience with Denorilin.
So hello everyone, I'm Vishwa. I'm a business development manager in Starburst and SaaS-based influencer marketing platform. So I've been using Denolan for almost a month now. I guess more than a month. Days are falling off like leaves, you know. So my experience is, first, I would like to explain the 3 things that I think needed for a social media app, and then I want to explain how Denolan is good in those factors. So first thing is user interface. Coming to Denolan, the user interface is really good, and the second thing is about the content. Denolan drags out of you more than other social media apps usually do. So it talks about know yourself first, feeling an urge to open the app. You know, that's important in social media. Social media is not only about creating the content, it's also about consuming the content. And coming to overall experience, it's really great, and I'm really excited about what they're gonna build. Thank you.
Let us take 2 minutes time and listen to what Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam sir would just say in case today he was alive.
We should stand for a culture of excellence. The excellence not by accident. It is a process where an individual continuously strives to better oneself. The performance standards are set by themselves. They work on their dreams with focus and are prepared to take calculated risks and do not get deterred by failures as they move towards their dreams. Then they step up their dreams as they tend to reach the original targets. They strive to work to their potential. In the process, they increase their performance, thereby multiplying further their potential. This is an unending life cycle phenomena, culture of excellence. They are not in competition with anyone else but themselves. That is a culture of excellence. I'm sure each one of you will aspire to become a unique with culture of excellence. I learned every youth wants to be unique. Every youth wants to be unique. That is you. Every youth wants to be unique. That is you. But the world around you is doing its best day and night to make you just everybody else. Question is whether you want to be you or everybody else.
Hello, namaste, and all the dignitaries present here, our well-wishers, our friends, and last but not the least, our family, without whom we would not be on this stage in front of you. We, Team Denolan, are today sitting in T-Hub, the world's largest innovation campus, situated in the heart of Knowledge City, Madhapur. I would like to invite and introduce to the internal team. I would like all of you to come onto the stage. Myself, Nori Vaishnavi. I'm Junior Product Owner and Management Lead at Denolan. Hari, Technical Research and Data Analyst. Kartikeya, Junior Backend Developer. Aman, UI UX Designer. Ritika, Junior Business Research Analyst. Shravani, Content Creator. And Sai Vikas, Video Editor. So, Hari, over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Hari Charan, Technical Research and Data Analyst at Denolan Private Limited. I joined Denolan in June of 2022. During my first meeting with the founders, they explained and walked me through the concept of Denolan in great detail. Being a gamer and an esports player myself, I really immediately saw a connection between my passions and the product they're developing at Denorlan. The goals of Denorlan and my passion aligned, and thus it drove me to join this company. Denorlan is trying to join two big facets of technology, gamification and social media, which is comparable to a tornado meeting a volcano. As a data scientist, Denorlan provides me with an immense opportunity to build my skills in this field. As social media companies generate a large amount of data on a daily basis, I believe that they're a gold mine for aspiring data scientists like me. I would like to heartily thank Denorlan for providing me this opportunity and supporting me. I pass the mic over to Karthikeya.
Okay, so hello everyone, this is Karthikeya. I'm the backend developer for the team Denorlan. So yeah, I've joined this company recently in this year only, 3-4 months back. So first when I heard the idea, I just got connected to the idea. My passion is to always become a game developer. My passion is always to become a game developer. Like I'm hardcore into, like not hardcore into gaming, but hardcore into game developing. I've created some mini games for myself. But when I first came here to Denorlan, I've heard to the idea. It's completely, collaborating with the two major innovations of this era, the social media and the gamification. So for the gamification part, where I got personally connected to that, so that's why I was with a team of Denorlan, and at every step Denorlan was continuously mentoring me. My technical lead, my front-end developer, everyone, they were completely mentoring through every step for me. And so every second I spent with Denorlan, I got rewarded with that. So it does the same thing with you users. It will reward you in some other way. So thank you guys. Over to Aman.
Hey everyone, I am Aman. I am a UI UX designer and also part of Team Denorlan. So firstly, I wanted to say thanks to Senior Sir and Junior Sir for giving me this best opportunity to work on this great idea and believing in me that a high school guy who can handle such a big project or such a big concept. So I wanted to say thanks to Senior Sir and Junior Sir. And my journey with Denorlan started 1 year back. That time it wasn't even a reality. It was just a thought. So somehow like after working on it hours, nights, somehow we have managed to convert this thought into a proper reality. So this is our journey. And what the main thing I love about Team Denorlan, it is actually no one here is an employee mindset. Everyone had sacrificed a lot of things in the team, had worked every hour and give their best and all these things. And a few months back when we was working on the designing aspect, we was not proper aware of the technical aspect. So maybe that's why we have also failed so many times. But I wanted to say thanks to Akash sir and Mohammed and Pranay for handling the technical aspects very well. So because of them, our product has been launching today with a great part. So thank you. And over to Vaishnavi.
Hello everyone. So I am the junior product owner and management lead at Denorlan. I have been starting my journey at Denorlan from June 2022, where initially and now too I'm just a final year student, but now I have the experience, and it's all because of the entire team Denorlan, where we work days and nights and spend. It's not about only spending, but we have that quality time and the coordinations. And always one thing we have to keep in mind, that in a place where we're developing something, everyone should be on the same page. And yes, I would now pass on to Ritika.
So, hello everyone. With this revolutionary morning, I'm delighted to articulate myself as I'm a junior business analyst in Denolin. So, I started my journey with Denolin in June. Why I got connected? Because of the thought, the vision, the know yourself. It's triggered me, and I started to analyze myself that even I want to carry the entrepreneurship journey, and this Denolin, through this, they are taking me through the real-time experience. So I would like to say that with this experience, I would like to end my speech with the great Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and also today is the Students' Day. So we should have, with his quote, aim in life continuously, acquire knowledge, work hard and have perseverance to realize the great life. So we have one life, make it big, make it large, do something extraordinary and make it memorable. So with this thought, thank you. And I would also like to thank both the founders who gave me this opportunity to be the part and grow both from both the ends, be the Denolin and myself. Thank you, everyone. Now I would like to give the mic to the Shravani.
Hello again everyone, I'm Shravani, introducing myself again as a content creator who is working for Denolin since past 1 month. I'm very proudly saying that this 1 month has taught me so many things. Basically, me as a content creator who posts content in various other social media, just know how to project myself in front of a camera. But after working with Denolin, I have learned so many things, and I would like to thank senior sir and junior sir for always encouraging me, pushing me forward, staying as my strength to just project myself very well defined in front of everyone by giving so much confidence to me in this past 1 month. And this 1 month has taught me so many things which I can never leave behind in my life. Talking about Denolin, about my experience working with Denolin, this company, no one works as an employee, with an employee mindset. They all are very connected to the work, and their passion is really driving them very well in their lives. And I can see that when we are working as a team together, we all share our thoughts on everything. Like if I'm a content creator, I can really share my thoughts on web development, and technical team will really help me in my content, like talking how to talk, what to talk and where to talk. So we all work we all come together and work. That makes our work easier, which is not really easy, but we can feel it easy when we are working together. So this really feels good working with Denolin, and our passion, and we are all on the same page. So I'm really looking forward for our journey to reach very good heights. Thank you. I'm giving the mic to Nori Vaishnavi.
I would now invite Soumya Ravula ma'am, COO of Denolin, to come onto the stage and share her experience with the team and her own experience. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you, Vaishnavi. I think it's a very good afternoon, everyone. I'm Soumya Ravula. So we all started in the year of 2020. I'm the very first one to join Denolin. So both Tagore brothers came in and we had this idea pitching. I know Tagore previously.